it's Kat from Kat's Beauty Bar. I'm here with Jesus from Integral Business Services. Did I say it right?
Yeah, perfect.
So today we're going to be talking about all things business for all of you beauty providers out there that are struggling or have questions or need to be enlightened about some things
Business related.
business related, right? Yes.
All the goodies, stressful parts of getting started.
This is your guy.
So we want to maybe deep dive a little bit into questions that I feel people think are obvious, but we don't talk about them enough because we think they're obvious, so it just goes over everybody's head.
Right,
I think one of those questions I talked about earlier is, what does it really cost to open up a business, start and operate? And I feel like everybody has an idea, but even when I look online, you can't really find good answers.
Definitely. That's where we come in. He comes in.
Yeah.
I've been knowing you for what? How long now?
A couple years
2021 or
2021, I believe.
Yeah. So I reach out to him with all my questions because if he doesn't have the answer, he definitely will find it for you. He has a lot of good, what would you call it, business associates or?
Yes. So not only business experience, so I have personally owned businesses, sold businesses, but on top of that, we have tons of different friends that we have in the industry from either beauty, whether you're looking at attorneys, CPAs. So we made a lot of friends along the way to help you out.
Great. And then just to avoid from confusion, he doesn't only do beauty businesses. He also has experience with bakeries, party planning.
I think at this point, it's about maybe 2,500 different companies.
Oh, wow.
And in multiple different industries.
Oh, nice.
I would say right now, though, our niche is definitely women empowerment. So we are supporting a lot of women in the industry, which we've seen some crazy stuff like CNC, so machine cutting, and women are in the industry getting in there.
Right.
It's amazing.
We're diving in.
Yeah.
Victorious.
Right? I love it.
So the main purpose of our meet here is to just say hi, introduce ourselves, and lend a helping hand for anyone out there that has any questions. You're not alone. We all have questions. We all have fear of starting a business. Are we doing this right? And that's where you start building a community. You start building a friendship, a rapport with businesses like Jesus's or mine or anyone else out there that you can think of. Don't feel intimidated on asking anyone questions because we've all been there. And there's so many people that are willing to help. Gone are the days of gatekeeping. So everyone is willing to lend a helping hand and lift up.
I love that. I think I couldn't say it better myself. It's really like a revolution of free right now.
Right.
I feel like there's just free information everywhere. And that's the way to go.
So one thing I wanted to, that's I guess you could say in the business world is a headline, like breaking news, right?
Yeah.
Is the BOI.
That's right.
Okay. So
That's
would you suggest to somebody that say has not registered or applied for their BOI now that they have paused it to go ahead and still register in the case maybe they decide to go ahead and push the BOI? Are they going to be fining after the date if you're not registered? If we took a step back and said, oh, they paused it and now I don't have to do it, what would your suggestion be?
No, that's a great question. And I think for everybody right now, if anybody is speaking, they know what's going on with the BOI reports. We don't know what's going on with the BOI reports. And I think that's been the topic since 2023, to be honest.
Right.
And it's because it's such a new agency that came out, which is FinCEN. So FinCEN is a government agency. Typically, FinCEN is what you do when you go get business credit or personal credit. So it's not too new, but on the business side, it's new. And so what's going on right now is that first, everybody thought, hey, this is unconstitutional. We shouldn't be able to do this. And the government's like, it's legit. You guys have to do this. And I was just talking about this about a month ago. We had an event. And this was a small business expo in Pasadena. And the government agencies from BOI were there. And they're like, hey, we just talked about it. I know a lot of people are trying to go against it, but it's here to stay. So this thing that just happened, so the courts decided to put a halt on the BOI report. So it's not official. So I know everybody's kind of celebrating right now, but I'm like, hold on, right? Nothing is too good of a news. So hold on, just be mindful, be patient. I would recommend if you haven't done it right now, just put a pause on it.
Right.
Because there's no reason to do it if the court is telling us not to do it.
So you don't think that if they do pick it up, let's say in mid-January or whatever, early February, that if, say, I didn't file my BUI by the cutoff,
Yes.
and then they decided to roll it out in January,
And then
am I going to get that fine?
You pull the rug on everybody.
Yeah.
Like, we got you.
So as far as that goes, who falls under that spectrum of having to register their BUI? Is it S corp, LLC? I know corporation. I know LLC and corporation for sure, but DBA. Because I was speaking to my hairdresser about it just recently, and she hadn't even heard anything, and she was like,
A lot of
"Find
people
out."
are still not. Yeah. Today, we get messages every day. I got probably a few new ones just today saying, "Hey, does this still affect me?" So a couple things. There's an extension. So luckily, at least from what we're being told, is that if you don't do it, let's say end of 2025, your due date is end 2025, and then, or they decide to push it in, let's say February. They're like, hey, no, we're rolling out with it. There will be an extension for those companies.
Oh, okay.
At least that's what we're hearing. Again, these things are always kind of wishy-washy. Some people said they weren't going to go. Some people now are saying it is official. So we're taking it day by day. We're going to go ahead and let you guys know when to file this, how to file them. But for just peace of mind, most companies that are LLCs and corporations are going to have to do it.
Right.
That is almost 95% of them. The only ones that don't qualify are really nonprofits, charitable institutions. There's like hospitals out there. That type of industry doesn't have to file it.
Okay.
And then DBAs also.
Oh,
So
that's good
DBAs
to know.
don't fall under the BOI
That's good to
report.
know. All right, that clears that up.
Hopefully. We're not sweating too much about the BOI.
So at the end of the day, I guess it's safe to say use your own discretion. Make your own opinion, your own judgment. If on the bottom line, it's going to fall on you.
Yeah.
So sorry, we couldn't really help give you a period at the end of that question, but it's kind of still a question mark, right?
That's correct. So right now, put it on hold. It's okay. You'll be fine. But to make sure that you are ready in case they do push it through, because they are going to give us a strict timeline. So it's 90 days, and as a business owner, 90 days is like a week.
Right.
No, you tell
No,
me.
you're right.
Hey, we got a plan in 3 months. That's around the corner, man.
Yeah. Start sweating.
Exactly. Oh my God, you're not giving me any time.
Where am I
here.
going to fit this in? Jeez. Yeah, I get that. Great. I'm so happy you clarified that. So as far as, let's say, there's a lot of people that are in different levels of their business. Some are barely starting.
Yeah.
Some are thinking about starting. Some have started and they're getting their feet wet. Others are thinking about delegating work, hiring employees and stuff like that. Let's talk about that group, the group that are ready to start hiring.
I like it. So where do you want to deep dive first? Because so there's 3 levels usually of business. In the spectrum there's 6, but we try to break it down into 4. Because really small business is anywhere under $500 million or under 500 employees. So that's ridiculous, right? Like we look at 500 million, we're like, that's not small, that's a massive corporation. But in the eyes of the government, that's actually considered a small business.
Jeez.
So I like to break that number down even smaller and niche it down to the micro level. So we have people who are making somewhere between 0 to about 3,000 a month. That's your very first kind of self-employed. Then it goes from 3,000 to about $10,000 a month. That's like the jump that people take. That's when people are actually self-employed. They're now start thinking about legitimizing the company. Then you take the next leap, which is about 100,000 to 300,000. This is the moment where you start needing help. At least on average, most companies need to start thinking, I can't do this all by myself. Because your currency changes from money to time. Right? On that spectrum is still holding on to their money. I gotta get paid a certain amount of time to be happy. But that starts to change for entrepreneurs and says, no, it's not money that I need more time.
Right.
And so then what do? Well, you can't create more time. There's only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
So, that's okay. I was on fire. No.
Right now, I'm coming in.
So when you start looking for more time, you can only do a number of things. One, you systemize. So you create processes to get better at something quicker. Second is you automate, right? So then you have like automation emails, automated text messages, invoices, so that you spend less time doing the day-to-day activities. So what it does is creates more time for you.
Exactly.
Finally is you duplicate yourself, which is the hardest part. The hardest thing for entrepreneurs to do is 1, let go of the day-to-day activities, and then 2, trusting other people to come in and take those activities. Because the only way you can create more time is to then trust others to do what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And as an entrepreneur, delegation is like something I believe they should be focusing on day one, even if it's just themselves, even if they're
really?
making under $3,000 a month.
Oh, that's interesting.
They should start thinking of automatically, how can I replace myself now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? My main thought, I guess you could say, when I started out was how I make more money with doing less work.
Yes, that is the golden question.
Right.
That,
so I guess it goes along the lines
it does.
With what you said, right?
Correct.
Like make more money, do less work.
That's the golden question. I mean, everybody should write that. Like, if you have a dream journal, you have a goal setter, like you have any like that tracks your progression, that should be on the number one thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do I do more for less?
Right.
So
Okay.
I think that is your number one focus. It should be, how do I do more for less?
Right. And then right now, in this moment in time, I am thinking of trying to hire at least one person. But my mind just starts going, all the fears start coming, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, if I hire, do I need health insurance? What about unemployment? Or do I, what are some simple ways of hiring that first employee to not overwhelm yourself or not overwhelm the business?
I love that. Let me ask you a counter question with this. What is the purpose of this hire? Like, what do you want to gain out of this person?
I want to gain, I guess I can say I want to duplicate myself. I'm ready to do that.
And then what do you want the end result to be after that? So once that person comes in, like ideally, let's say this person is the perfect candidate. And that's in their rock star, they knock it out. What do you want to happen afterwards?
Well, my main focus is training and
Okay.
building a community in I guess helping, how can I put this? Help people do business empowerment.
Correct,
That's
yeah.
what I want to that's where my road is leading me to, is not only training in the beauty field but also empowering women to be that entrepreneur, that self-employed, that I don't know,
Yeah.
businesswoman, I guess.
You want to start now telling them, hey, you can make the magic too. You can work
Right.
for yourself. And I've done it. I'm going to show you how to do it.
Definitely.
You can't be in the field if you're doing everything still to run this place.
Exactly.
Sounds like,
I can't
yeah.
be out there, and I can't be out there holding events and stuff if I'm here. I love servicing. I love the service end of the business and stuff, but right now I feel like I have gained so much information that I just want to tell people
About it. I have all these goodies. I need to share it with everyone.
Because I'll be seeing some stuff on social media, whatever, and then you see mistakes or things that you've done, and you want to just and I have reached out to some people. Hey, just this no, I'm not trying to, what's it called, judge, or not judge, but what do they call it? Throw shade. I guess that's how they say it. The young people.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
But how about if you, or just a suggestion, and they love it, right? They're
Nice.
like, oh my God, thank you so much.
Some constructive criticism,
Right?
some feedback. Yes.
And you're building a little business family or something,
Of course.
and then they could come to you, Big Mama.
Hey, that's you. They're taking care of that.
Yeah.
That'll be your coin.
Right? I
Yeah.
know.
Let me ask you this. On your day-to-day operations, when you come in here and you open up the shop, if you can give me a description. Like if I was telling you, hey, Kat, can you describe, I never have in my life made a sandwich in my life, but I need you to walk me through it. I need you to tell me how to open up the bag from taking off that little twisty thing to getting my hand in there. Where do I lay things down? What does that look like when you park, getting in here, literally turning the key, punching things? You don't gotta say your code because there's some weirdos out there. But if you can describe that first maybe half hour to 1 hour setting up in here, what does that look like?
Well, basically, when I get here, first things first is I have my A-frame, which is my sign that I put out in the front because I'm not a storefront.
Okay.
So I get up here and I take my A-frame downstairs, and I'm like, what spot am I getting the most?
Let me draw one back. So we're going to get even more specific. How can you get to your A-frame? Is it in this shop? It's in here, right? So how do you have to open up the front door?
I
You have
gotta
to go
walk
to the
all the
hallway?
way down the hallway, lug that sucker downstairs and set
Gotcha.
it up.
And then you got to get punching your code. So then the first thing you do is you park in the parking lot, put your code in, you got to
Come
get in here,
upstairs,
open up
yeah.
your shop. Do you have Well, we won't talk about security codes, right? She has a
Oh,
security
we're
code in
secure.
here.
We're secure.
We got security code. Perfect. So you then open up. Do you turn on anything else? You turn on your lights?
Nope. I come up, I
Get your sign.
toss my bags down, get my sign, go outside, set it up, and then I come upstairs.
Sweet.
And then I start replenishing my snack bar.
Awesome.
Sweeping or vacuuming. Vacuum's easier, especially when you do lashes. Oh my gosh, that lashes are everywhere. You're like, what the heck? How'd that even get there? But you make sure it smells really nice. That's the major pointer right there, is when you own a salon, you have to make sure it smells really nice, right?
Nice.
You want people to walk in and say, oh, it smells really good in here.
You do everything.
So check my emails, set up for the first client. I have their file. I do have a digital consultation papers, forms and stuff like that, but I'm old school. I like my paper forms. So they'll fill out their form online, but when they come in here, I'm like, can you do me a favor, fill this out? It's just like, I don't know, embedded in me. I like my paper. I have to have my paper.
I'm the opposite. She knows this too. Like, I hate paper, but we have to send paper out. I was like, we gotta get a cabinet.
Oh
no
my
cabinet,
gosh.
no paper,
Yes,
nothing.
filing cabinet. I have to have both though. Definitely, because what if your computer crashes? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, what did I do on you last time? And the client's not gonna know. They're like, I don't know, what products did I use? I don't know. You have to have your paper, right?
Yeah. We have to have them at some point.
Exactly.
So what we just described, there's a couple of things, and there's a reason why we're doing this exercise, is while you're doing your daily routine and setup, you just described multiple departments of your business, right? From someone who is maybe admin assistant, or someone who is maybe just cleaning for you. So there are different components of your business that you just did. And so when we think about it, is if you're replying to emails, that might be admin support. If someone is replenishing items, that might still be admin support, or that might be a helper, or just a cleaning person that takes care of everything. When you decided to open up, and then let's say you put your sign outside, that might be the responsibilities of that admin support or somebody else. So all these things are actually layers of the company that usually most people in the beginning don't think about.
Right.
Those departments, each department has its own strict responsibilities. Think of this like a corporation. When we go work at a corporation, if it's McDonald's, if it's Walmart, if wherever we decide to work, there's a reason why we apply for a certain role for a certain price. And most people, when they start hiring, they don't think like this. They're thinking, oh, I just need a helper or an assistant, or I need this role, but there's no descriptions and layers of those responsibilities.
Right.
So a couple of things start happening. One, they start attracting the wrong person. And when you start attracting the wrong person, you're going to most likely hire, or we start hiring with emotion. Man, I love this person's connected with
personality, right?
Your vibe was great, but the vibe is always the worst thing you can hire somebody for.
You're like, what happened to your vibe, girl? Like,
2-3 months in, you're paying bills and you're paying their money, and it's coming out of you, but it's all your responsibility. And so that vibe starts to drain you. That person is not doing their job, so now they're drained as well, and that's where problems start to happen.
Right.
So one of my first tips is write down the responsibilities of the company, write down the departments of the company, and start to split those apart.
Right.
Because then you can start looking for that ideal candidate to help you on the things that you do not want to do first.
So leave your emotions at the door then. Just
always.
Your feelings. No, there ain't no feelings here.
Always. So like that.
So I have had, now we're a small salon, and I do have spots that I rented out, and I have been blessed with very little on vibes people or whatever. Yeah. I like the feeling of giving a person the opportunity of getting their feet wet and seeing what the real business is, how it's going to be, the real world, right? The real side of business.
That's right.
But right now I'm at the point to where it's time to start really, I guess, throw the feelings aside. I'm not a fairy godmother, I guess.
Yeah. And to get in there, we run businesses, and at the end of the day, we're responsible for all these dreams that we create, right? This is our vision, and then we want the same for everybody. I think one of also internally with Integral Business and having Rose, the theme that we've been having at the end of this year is that you can lead people to the water, you can lead the horse to the water,
right,
but you can absolutely never make them drink it.
Definitely.
It's always going to be up to them. And that's one of the most painful lessons that we can learn, because she asked me the other day is, are you like, do you have a hero complex? Are you the main character? And I was like, in a big aspect of it, I was like, yes. I was like, I am, because I want to save everybody. And for some reason, I think that that's the role that I was given. But I also need to learn how to take, because you can't give forever, right? You're
You
gonna
deplete yourself.
drain. Then you start getting frustrated. You start wondering what's wrong with you. Then the hives start breaking out, and then that's it, right? And so you need to learn how to set boundaries, because some people just are not gonna follow. So it goes into my next point. Culture is extremely important. And culture is one of those things that people will do anything and everything for you for the right culture.
What does you mean? Elaborate.
So culture is something that's meta. It's out. It's not something that you can really put a good picture for, but we all have an idea what culture is. So think of culture as in, let's say Riri, right? Riri's a really famous person. Everybody knows Rihanna at this point. Riri has Fenty. When we think of that, she has such a core following that anything that she does, people are going to follow her. And they would honestly die for that belief. Look at Queen Bee. Beyonce's another good one. Beyonce can do anything at this point. Beyonce will do anything and everybody would be like, yes, I will follow that to the end. Even look at Rihanna, right? She has a lot of controversy right now, but she has such a core following that anything that she does, people will still follow and believe it. And that goes back into us as business owners. We need to have such a strong culture that we also attract the right people. I think that's the lead to success.
Would you say maybe the branding, or?
Absolutely. Branding, personal branding is one of the big components of it. Not only business branding, but personal branding as an owner as well.
Oh,
you just
okay.
mentioned you're a big mama, you want to take care of people, right? Right? People, imagine they're looking at you and you're like, oh, that's Mama Bear, she takes care of me. And you have this branding around you that it's like everybody feels comfortable just automatically based off of it.
Right. You know what? One thing that I still struggle with, I guess, is nobody's perfect, and you always hear your people are out there, right? I know, correct me if I'm wrong. When I feel like when people see me, they have, well, it's for everybody, right? When people see you, they have a certain perspective, they have a certain view of how you should be or how you are until you open your mouth, and then people are like, what the heck?
That's right.
I'm just like, and I am guilty of trying to be somebody that I'm not, right? In the beginning.
Yes.
Like, you want to be this, oh, everything's beautiful. But really, I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just live, all the way live, right? And
That's
so
right.
I'm just like, well, I can't hide that who I am. How can I hide behind my brand, right? So how do you build on such maybe somebody with like an eccentric personality, you know?
I love that. So I want to make sure we put a tape one on the question on hiring, because that's such a good question. I feel like we should deep dive into the payroll aspect and the pricing, because I want to make sure I cover your question. When it comes to building your personal brand and leaning into it, it's very cliche. It's so overly used, but everybody says, imagine you had 30 people in a room, right? So when we post and we get 30 likes, I feel like most of us that are entrepreneurs, we get defeated. We're like, we only got 30 likes. We only got 20 likes. I'm one of those people. If I get 10 likes or 20 likes, shoot, I think if I get like 50 likes now, I'm depressed. This is not good enough. I'm talking to her. What are you doing wrong? What do we got to change?
No, Rosie.
Rosie, I'm going to put her down. And it's like, but really, we look at it and I'm like, what does 50 people look like in a room? Right? That's an auditorium now.
Oh, that's a good one.
And so if you have 50 people that you can directly reach out to, those people will follow you. And so going back into, what if I am eccentric, or what if I am out there and colorful? I think you should lean into it, because it's going to be who you are. And there's going to be people out there who are going to relate to you. And they're going to love that. And that's something that we spoke a lot about is, hey, we still need to find our voice.
Right.
And with me, that's why I was like, let's go with, I hope it's okay, I shout out another creator, but like Destiny, when we did the nails, and we decided to do these long nails.
I want to meet her. She seems really cool. Yeah.
And it's like, the reason I did that is because, one, I have no shame whatsoever. Right. That's a nickname that my mom has told me since I was little. She's like, you have no shame. And I was like, I don't. That's my superpower. So I'm like, let's add nails to them. Let's make them colorful, because where most guys would be intimidated, I really don't care about those things. And I was like, let's go robust. Let's go wild. And that's going to build a niche of people who are like, hey, I like this. And I wouldn't be able to hide that. Eventually, it will come out.
I think I watched that video like maybe 3 times. I
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
he didn't. Let me
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
are those real? But anyways, let me just give you a shout out. So if anybody's looking for a model,
Please, I got
yeah,
you. So
yeah,
good.
definitely. So when we're gonna do your lashes?
We're gonna do some big lashes with
Yes, some mega volume.
Yes, I want some blue in there. Yes.
Oh no,
Some blue and white.
glitter. How funny. So you wanted to talk about numbers?
Let's talk about payroll because I know you mentioned a little bit about what does it look like to hire. So there are in California, especially if you're in California. Every state is different, by the way. So we've got a pretty good following. There's people that are out of state. Every state's completely different. So one is look into your state and what they allow and don't allow. I'm just gonna say that first. In California, though, this is suit capital of the world when it comes to freaking hiring.
Oh my gosh, yes.
California is so tricky because there's so many rules and there's so many little crevices that you do one thing different and then you get an employee. You do something else, they're not an employee. So there's technically 4 different types of employees, where it's employment, there are contractors, there is non-direct employees, and then there's so many. The very easiest way to do this is a 1099 worker is someone that you contract and you give them a job, but they do it under their own terms. And you pay them either at the end of the term or with certain restrictions, but not too many. So you can pay them either quarterly, every 2 weeks, or certain like that. But they have to work at their own time, however they want to dress, however they want to look. They can do whatever they want to do. But as long as they get the job done, then you go ahead and fulfill the contract. That's technically a 1099 in California. If, let's say that I'm going to contract you, and I'll say, hey, I want you to come work for me. By the way, I need you to use my laptop. You are now a W-2 employee because you're using my equipment. And I say, you can't use your own equipment. Let's say that you're coming for work for me, but you're using everything yourself. And I'm like, but I'm going to pay you every 2 weeks strictly. You're an employee now because I have now told you how you're going to get paid. If I tell you, you have to wear our uniform, you're now an employee. So in California, it gets very tricky. What's a 1099 and what's an employee? And so that's the first thing we got to start looking into.
I like the employee aspect better.
The W-2.
Wear my uniform.
Yes, there's always a give and take with both of them. I feel like 1099, some people work very well because they can get it done at their own time. So you got some people that are night owls, so they take the work home, or they're able to do it at their own liberty, so the workflow is easier.
What about something like insurance-wise? If you have a 1099 employee, will they be required to come with their own insurance?
You can put them under your own insurance, technically, under your own work, because you're subcontracting under them, so it still falls under you depending on the scope of the work.
Oh, okay.
So, for instance, if I contract someone to start working for me, and then they go out to do events, and then they break something, technically, because they're falling under my contract, they technically still belong to me. So then that's all my responsibility.
What about business insurance? They break something or whatever. Not their bodies, but like equipment.
I break your sign.
Yeah.
It will still fall under me. Let's get out of here. It will still fall under me because it's my business that hired that person to obligate that deal. But if I hired another company, I would want them to have their own insurance, have their own coverages, because if they go break something, it goes to them first. And then it gets into so many little niche and crevices.
There are so many, because I was talking to some representative from Colonial Penn, because I say I'm looking to hire somebody, and I want to know everything, because I want to know health insurance, unemployment, what if vacation, stuff like that, because I want to be a fair employer as well. So it's scary, but you have to do it, right? How are you going to grow? How are you going to get out there? You can't multiply and not have somebody like your right hand man or woman or whatever.
Right. I feel also to call out a lot of people out there who are entrepreneurs, and I wanted to be a little bit more controversial too, is if you want to be a business owner and you want the reward of being a business owner, you need to pay your bills. You need to pay your dues. So you can't ask, in whatever you believe in, if you believe in the universe, you believe in God, you can't ask to eat more, and then when you get the bills, you're going to avoid them or cry about it. So you have to do it, and you have to take those risks. And I'm calling out people out there because I know a lot of them, they want to expand, but then they don't want to hire. Or they don't want to get a bigger location, or they don't want to do this. And I'm like, dude, you have to. right? How do you expect to make more without inputting more?
Exactly.
And
You can't do it all. And
you have to, yeah.
You can try, but
You're gonna break down. I feel like you can do it to a limited time.
right.
And then after, you're gonna have a lot of problems.
Even doing my inventory, it's so frustrating. Why do I do so many services?
Well, maybe that's where we can start. What I tell people is find the things that, again, we're trading time for money at this point, and we need more time. So once you start hiring, you need to realize what is costing you now money. What is it, those things that are costing you your money and your time? Replenishing, that's not making you money right now, right? So you replenishing your bar, you cleaning, that's actually costing you money now. Because your time is so much more valuable that if you spend any time there, it's a waste of your time and money. Where if you had somebody come in and then let's say that you're worth maybe $200 an hour, but they're worth $20 an hour, then you're like, hey, can you take care of this? While you work on the real stuff, like calling people, getting people in there, doing the services, where it's actually going to bring revenue in. And this is where people need to start, at least I say people, but entrepreneurs needs to start working at first. What are the things that their day-to-day operations that don't make them money? It feels like it's busy work, but it's really not earning income.
Right.
And they need to start there.
Because even when I say I'm cleaning, and I enjoy it,
It's therapeutic
to clean my salon, and then replenishing. But you have so many other things to do. Do I want to come in and clean the salon? No, I need to set up for my client or whatever the case is, or make phone calls or respond to text messages or DMs or whatever. But I guess I could do it with a headphone. I'm all mopping. I'm like, hey guys, just returning your phone call.
Calling people up. Yeah.
I gotta be creative.
No. And then it also goes down into what you want to get out of that person too. So if you're hiring like be another ST or you're hiring another massage therapist, you're hiring someone that does body sculpting, you want to make sure that you're allocating the right funds to that person. And here in Cali, there's a couple things. Payroll is really, really critical. If you want to turn anybody into a W-2, third-party payroll. Every single
ADP
time.
or
ADP,
like
QuickBooks, Gusto. Those are our top 3 favorite ones, but there's tons of them. Paychecks is another one out there. You don't want to be doing those little things because there's 2 ways. You can let your CPA or your accountant take care of it, which they're going to bill you for, or 2, you do it all yourself, which now costs time. Right. You don't want to be doing.
I know, that's a good one. I was going to ask you, well, what about the CPA? But for anybody that doesn't know CPA, you want to clarify that?
So it's
CPA
your
stands for?
Certified Public Accountant, or someone that does basically all your accounting. They do tax services. They also do tax strategy. They should do tax strategy for you. Most of them are there to just save you money when you do your taxes.
So let's give a rundown of exactly what your business offers to people that may not know. And I'm saying all these acronyms. If they don't know what these acronyms are, then you need to give them a call.
Thank you for asking that.
Put there below, comment, or we're going to put something here for you.
Yes.
We are basically your small business therapist, your business consultant. So we are your one-stop shop for everything small business related. So all our ideal clientele is anybody that's making under $1 million in revenue or has one, I say to about 10 employees. It does push over depending on the company, but once you do 10 to 20 employees, you should be making more than $1 million in revenue. If you're not, then we got to figure out what's going on in there. Those are our niche clientele. What we do is, one, we specialize in really hand-holding and guiding you to start your business. I tell people, we take you to the edge, we put your arm in between, and then we jump with you, right? When you don't believe and you don't see the bottom, we do. And so we're going to jump there with you. And then we help you out. We formalize your company, we get your business licenses, we help you make sure that you got everything ready, talking about like the wire reports. So we want to keep you updated with everything.
Right. And also you do work hand in hand with and I know you have a girl that does grant writing.
That's correct.
And stuff. Love to apply for grants. I haven't won one yet, but yes. I feel like it's coming close, right? It's so important. You want to, there's money out there, right? There's money out there. And as far as grant writing, grant writer is somebody that answers the questions how they want to hear. And you also work with Chase.
Correct. We work with multiple banks now, a couple. So Chase provides you not only open up your business bank accounts, savings and checkings for the company, but credit underwriting. So if you need to get your first business credit cards or you need to get a small business loan, now we added U.S. Bank, BMO, California Bank as well. So we have different options depending on who you need help with. And then we have additional services like, payroll is one of those. So whether it's QuickBooks, Gusto, or ADP, we just want to give you what options that you're comfortable with, but also where you belong. Another one would be like you mentioned, Siobhan Smith. So shout out to Siobhan Smith. She is our grant writer. She actually used to work with us for a bit.
Oh, right.
So she worked with us for a good minute. She helped us out, but that girl is extremely, I feel like she is undervalued. She is underrated. Like, I need to get a hold of her. She is Siobhan. Call her. She is worth it. So yes, you can apply for grants yourself. It's great. It's a good practice, and it's really
time consuming.
But it is time
consuming.
Siobhan, that's all she does. She not only owns multiple nonprofits. She's part of different ones. She also gets involved with a lot of different city officials. She loves grants. Like, this is her calling. So she knows how to apply for them, how to structure them. She knows how to find them. Those are the type of networks that we also bring together for you. Make sure that you have the right team and the right people.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, at the beginning of this, I was saying, been knowing you for maybe close to 3 years now, something like that.
Correct.
And have become a friend to me. And
awesome.
I can say, I can call you with any question, and your willingness to help is amazing. So it was very important for me to have you guys out here and let the people know that there are people that are out here to help you. Answers are out there. So he is a very business owner, and he has a lot of people behind him that, could you say, that
want to help you guys succeed.
Yeah. What would you call them? Like,
I would say so, maybe.
Resources.
Yeah. Thank you. That's why she's here.
He has a lot of resources.
Yes.
Jeez. That's why she's here. She's dropping us words. So, for here at the salon, do also offer mentorship, as far as, which anybody that has a question on, and we're open door policy. You can always come and visit us. We're nice. We're friendly. We don't bite.
Yeah, let me ask you, how long have you been in
business legally?
Yep, a great one. Right.
3 years.
Okay. Prior experience? Yes, prior experience.
Off the books, combined 5 years.
I feel like that's the necessary part, and I feel like it's like, you have to do sometimes. You just got to get started, get in there, and no one knows when they're going to just start doing business, right? Like, I had multiple companies myself, and a lot of times it starts like that. You're kind of working under the table, getting experience, and you're just doing things.
Right, yeah. I started in my room, just like every that you hear out there. You started in your bedroom.
Nice.
I got kicked out of my house, not physically, but as far as services go, I transitioned my garage into a salon, and that was interesting, especially when I had clients, and garage is in an alley, right? So I would take my new clients into the alley, and they'd be like to just see the fear, right, in their eyes, and then I open the garage, and they'd be like, oh my God, like it looked like a legitimate salon, right? So they're like, oh my God, it's so cute in here, and so I had to do something about
they're
this.
All holding onto their liver and their kidneys.
No, like... I know, you hear That's funny that you say that, because one of the ladies, I used to listen to, I love blues, right? So I used to listen to blues when I was working out of my salon, and I was doing lashes on this lady, and she says, can we change the music? She's like, it's just giving me this really creepy vibe. She says, I'm in a garage, in an alley, my eyes are closed.
Well, interesting.
Yeah. So that was funny. Oh my gosh, the stories, jeez.
And so what is your specialty? What can people get done here?
Well, pretty much the whole concept about the salon is having a one-stop shop. Somewhere you can go in with your hair. We don't do hair, but I'm just saying, with your hair in a bun and no makeup on, and then you can come out with a body sculpting, a facial, some lashes, maybe throw in some lips. You go out feeling like a new woman.
I love that.
So,
that's awesome.
So it's myself in Kazari. I do sublease one of the spaces to Kazari from Classy Blinks. She's awesome at what she does, and she's very talented. So you have choice. There's choice. You don't
Yeah.
have to come to me.
When did you transition from the garage to your physical location?
Shortly after I met with you, and I got my LLC.
That's awesome.
So I was looking for a spot, and lo and behold, this one popped up. One of my ex-classmates found it, and I want to get all into that story. It's a whole mess.
That's okay.
But
You
here
got
we
your
are.
location. You got your location. So I want to deep dive into that because we mentioned numbers earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We know that the average beautician makes about 58,000 a year, which sounds nice, right? But when we'll deep dive into it, there's a lot of expenses that go into that,
There are.
right? So what's that transition look like from you're doing it from your home, you got your location set up, it's really cute, but then now you get your physical location, so you're taking it more professional, you got your legitimate space. What does the cost change look like? Now you got an overhead.
Right. Well, for me, it's different because, like I said, I do rent the space out. And I've had the luxury of, I have two spaces, and I've had the luxury for the majority of the time here to have
Nice.
those spaces filled.
Awesome.
So pretty much you got your rent, you got your utilities, your internet. I have a personal cell phone and a business cell phone.
Nice.
And let's see what else. Your supplies. Let's see.
Decorations?
Your decorations, exactly how you're going to decorate. And I tell you, I'm the worst at this. My clients will tell you too. I blame my grandma because she always was changing the house around, right? And
Okay.
so I'll come in here and I'll be like, and my husband hates it too because I'll be like, I got something for you to build at the salon. And he's like, what the
Yes.
heck? I'm always changing things,
Good,
right?
yep.
I don't know. It's just a childhood trauma.
Changing everything.
Yeah.
This is just my response to protect myself.
This is what brings me joy. I
Yeah.
love to look at beautiful things. And
Nice.
so I even had called my mom one time and she stopped me from doing what I said, Mom, I want to redo the whole salon. I want to change the whole scene. I want to go gray and gold. I wanted to just, is that really necessary? Didn't you just get this and that? Right. Let me buy some more lip filler or something, you know. But back to that question. I knew that I wanted to open a salon. I knew I wanted to. So I started doing my research. I started saving money.
Okay.
And so through the whole time that I was going to school for esthetician, I knew my end goal was to open a salon, right?
Nice.
So I was saving money, and I really wish I would have known about grants and crowdfunding and angel backers and all that stuff because I totally would have dived on that or jumped on that one from the beginning, because when you're using your own money, you not only have to think about your cost to keep the lights on at your salon,
Yep.
but also your home. So
Right.
that means that now we have the salon owner working a full-time job and running a full-time salon,
Yep.
right? So you
Yep.
want to talk about burning the candle at two ends, right?
That's correct.
And then you have to build a website. You have to be active on social media.
That's right.
You have to. There really is a lot.
If you're comfortable, what is the overhead you think month to month looks like for you in a location like this?
For me, well, honestly, finding this location I feel blessed like to have this location because it's not really high.
Good.
Like, I'm not going to jump any numbers, but I just let's say
let's
it's
just round off
manageable.
some stuff.
It's manageable.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
do like round off maybe end of the month expenses with everything included though, everything you do?
I would say it's about maybe like 2,000 hitting that
Okay,
monthly.
nice. So imagine you're making 58,000 a year, and then you are losing about 24K, right?
Mhm.
So and this is just for the average number. So you're not really making 58K take home, and that's where we want to come in as a business owner and guidance and help you. Hey, you can save on your taxes. You don't have to underreport now. You can also have credit, like you mentioned, crowdfunding options, angel investors. So if you are making 58K on average, and then you're paying about 2 to 3K on average per month, you're really losing almost 50% of your income, minus the 15.3% as self-employed.
Right.
So that's where we tell people it's not really the 58K, that's not the take home money. You're still losing a big chunk out of your operations. And we tell people, look, when you have a business, you can put that into your bank account, you can put that into your credit account, and guess what? Not only do you get money back on your expenses, but you get finance and funding for all those expenses as well. If you're ever going through a bad time, Stripe, Chase, any bank, they'll start seeing your revenue and be like, hey, we're going to cover you for 3 months. And you get some options along the way. But you can't do that if everything is under the table.
Definitely.
Right? Because then none of it is legit. And they're like, well, you got no proof of concept here.
I get that. And that's where things like Dun and Bradstreet come in, your net 10.
Yeah.
Or was it net 30?
Yeah, net 10s, net 30s. It depends on how you want to get paid.
How do you build your business credit score? And there's a lot. We could go on and on until the sun goes down, right? There's a lot, but I don't, and you know what? I wanted to comment on something that Destiny said when she was doing your nails. Yeah. Everybody wants to get into the business, right? You see it all the time. They want to get into the business, but once they're doing the nails or lashes or whatever the case is, and they're spending more than they're making, or they're not getting the clients, or whatever the case is, they just want to call it quits. And I get it. Sometimes you have to, but you have to go in this business with your eyes wide open. It's not just because you took the class or you got the certification, got the knowledge, doesn't mean that everyone's going to come knock on your door. You still have a lot of work to do, right? Correct. You're your own billboard, I guess. You have to do the footwork. And sometimes it really is footwork. I have gone out there and put flyers on cars and cards in shopping department stores, and my daughter, she would get so embarrassed because everywhere I would go, talk about my business every chance I got. And you have to have the drive, you really do. So, and it'll pay off. You'll start seeing the rewards gradually, and it's in those moments where it keeps you going, right?
Correct.
So I just want to encourage you guys, like, if you feel like you're at your wit's end or you want to throw in the towel or whatever, if you need somebody to talk to,
Big Mama's there to take care of you.
Okay.
So, let's get into that, because I want them to have confidence in you and what you do. You've built your location, you have people here that help you out. We want them to be also, we want you to be their go-to, right? For starting up in the beauty industry. I'm a baby esthetician. I am brand new. I'm a brand new manicurist, right? Or I'm new in the beauty industry. What do you think is some of the very first steps they should start taking, right? What do you suggest, or what do you want to guide them on? If, let's say it's me, I just went to school, I'm either in school or I'm graduating, what should be my first steps?
I think content is very important. Models are very important. You want to constantly be showing your work. Referrals. You want to, if you're servicing your friends and your family and stuff, maybe tell them, hey, if 2 people come in with referrals and tell me your name, I'll give you such and such for free or whatever.
Nice.
Stuff. There's certain things you want to link up with somebody that knows the business at least a little bit. Somebody that is a little knowledgeable, so that way you're not just spinning the wheel. In the hamster wheel or whatever. Just, like I said, gone are the days of gatekeeping. When I first started, it was so hard. It was sad. It was really sad. And it was hard for somebody to get into. I started in lashing. Nobody wanted to tell you their secrets. It wasn't really a secret, but it was like, since they figured out the formula, they're not going to tell you, because you're looked at as competition.
That's correct.
And now we've evolved, and the competition thing is squashed, thank God. And we're women helping women, and there's a lot of us out there. But I remember when I was like, what? I don't know, and because you go to these classes and they teach you the bare minimum, which they don't even know what they're doing, and they're just teaching you what they know, and it's probably not right anyway. And so you go out there, and that's when you start doing it. Yes. That's when you say, what the heck? What do I do with this or that? And so I found I stumbled across a lady. Her name is Chloe. Oh my gosh, what a blessing she was. Nice. And she had mentorship. She was the first one. That's and this was in 2019 or something like that. She was the first one that I saw that was doing this mentorship for low cost. And we're still friends to this day. We still talk.
That's awesome. You need friends in the industry. So from what I get is my very first steps, one is build content, right? Have a portfolio ready, and also find someone in the industry who definitely knows the ropes Or at least more than you do. That way, when you're
Definitely.
going through it and you're getting beat up by business, because I think we all have gotten a couple beat ups from business, you want to learn how to handle those and get back up.
Right. You
I
need
like
a
that.
lifeline, a life preserver, somebody
Yep.
to send that SOS out. And like I said, for you, I know if you don't know the answer that you will find out.
Yes.
And that goes the same for me because we don't know everything.
We don't.
There's so many things that are coming out still and changing and
Yep.
but we're pretty well rooted in the foundation of it.
That's right.
Right?
How do you, talking about that, how do you feel about that new AB5 law coming out for manicurists in 2025?
I am so upset about that.
That's insane.
That is horrible. I don't like it.
That is
Yeah,
insane.
I don't like it.
So, I don't know, do you want to let them know what it is? You want me to cover it?
Well, basically, from what I know,
Mhm.
it's now they can't be 1099.
That's
They
correct.
have to be W-2 now.
That's right.
They have to work under somebody.
That's right.
Who the heck?
So if you're a manicurist, you have no more booth renting, no more split commission. You can't get a location anymore. You have to be a W-2 worker, essentially.
That's horrible. Why?
Insane.
That's my question. Why? Who thought of this?
That is crazy insane. It's right. It's those HOA people. They get together and they think that they're doing the
Yeah.
greatest thing. And it's like they're just hurting so many entrepreneurs out.
I feel lately, what is that called when, remember Frankenstein and the townspeople came after him with their pitchforks? What's
Yeah.
it called? Is there like a name for it?
I don't know. Is there a name for that?
When the townspeople, remember Frankenstein? And then the townspeople were afraid
Yeah,
of
with
him.
the pitchforks
they
and they
came
get
with their-
together.
When they were just like rioting.
Not rioting, it's called something. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I feel like they're doing that to the beauty industry.
They really are. I feel it's one insanity to do that. Like, there's so many better ways to handle it. But two, we're trying to roll with the punches because I know a lot of the salon owners are also being affected. So it's not only manicures, but salon owners also are being affected.
Right.
Because then now they can't booth rent. Now they can't contract them. So it's like, what do we do and how do we handle this?
Right.
Yeah.
And if you've never booth rent or rented out a booth before, I love it because I don't know how to say this. You don't have the responsibility. Like
That's exactly right.
you
You're
don't
saying it
really
right,
have
yeah.
the responsibility of maintaining that person.
That's
right.
correct.
They're pretty much they're what did you call it?
Their own separate entity.
Their own separate entity. They're not subcontracted.
Self-employed.
Yeah, they're self-employed. Just rent a spot from you and they come in and they do their thing and then you get to meet their clients and you get to see their way of doing things and you learn their culture.
That's correct.
Right?
There you go. I like that.
It's great.
I did the same thing when we first early started. I got into one of those workspaces as well because I didn't have to pay rent. I didn't have to pay, or I paid rent, but I didn't have to pay like insurance. I didn't have to pay internet. I didn't have to pay cleanup.
Right.
It's all taken care of. And I'm like, it's a little bit higher my month to month, but I don't have a location that I need to also worry about. Now we have our own studio, and I'm like, damn, I gotta pay rent, I gotta pay upkeep, I gotta pay utilities. I'm like, I gotta make sure everything is clean. It's all on me. So as a booth renter, that's awesome because you come in, it's all set up for you. Like you mentioned, there's traffic coming in, you get to have a fun time. So it's gonna, I don't know, I feel kind of like, I'm just hoping that, which I don't think it will, I'm hoping that it stops there, but I really feel like State Board is gonna try to continue to push that to other fields.
I do too. I feel like they're trying to make it into a domino effect. It really concerns me as a salon owner because now we're not going to have this taking away our freedom. Really.
That is 100%. You got it.
It's taking away our freedom to be self-employed and write our story how we want to write it. Now we
Correct.
have to follow the guidelines, which rules are there for a reason, but I can't figure out what the reason of this is. Have they said?
Money. It's most.
Of
They
course,
have it, but it's
everything
money.
boils down to
It
it.
has
So
to
they
go
want
money.
to control everything.
It
Remember
has to.
when they started? Now, when I first started, we were doing Zelle and Cash App and Venmo and PayPal and all that stuff. And then,
No,
the
it's
government
regulated.
wants to check yours if you're getting so much in Zelle.
$600
It's like,
or $5K a year.
geez
Yep. There it is. It's regulated as well.
Right.
So
It's horrible.
How can we protect against that?
I love that. So there's a couple of things that we are speculating, but I know the State Board is going to try to get around it. They're already trying to.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing is getting established. If you are going to be a manicurist, and I feel honestly for anybody in any field that you're self-employed. So if you're filing a 1099 or you're doing a W-2 as a 1040. So that means you're just self-employed taxes at any moment. And then this also covers for anybody who's W-2 who's making over 45K. Because if you're making that much money and then you start a business, it's going to keep getting your taxes higher. So anybody self-employed, anybody in the beauty industry, anybody in the barber industry, one, you should be a business regardless. You should no reason at all at this point, 2024 to 2025, be working under the table. It is so short-lived, unless this is the exception, that you need to make money, which I get. Like if you're barely starting, you don't have clientele, then earn that, start making your money. But once you get past that, you need to get formalized and legitimized. So if you, for specifically manicurists, you're going to want to register a business because you're not going to be able to do W-2. So you might as well do self-employed under a business, which kind of goes around what they're saying. And then two, you do need to get your own business license because that's the other thing. They're forcing every single one of them to now get a business license as well.
Oh, wow.
So that's what's making a lot of spa owners, a lot of beauty salon owners, well, now they need to get everything and it's under them. Yep, the way to get protected, see, get yourself a business license, and if you can, get yourself an establishment permit and kick them out.
Let's say they have their LLC, they have their business license, and then I want to rent a space to them. Will I be able to do that with those things in that they come in hand, or they would still have to be a W-2 employee under my establishment?
I love that now. So they would technically be their own business.
Inside my
Inside your
salon.
own shop, because they are their own business owners. So then they're operating independently on their own as a business. So they're not a 1099 worker anymore. They are a business working there.
So I can still rent a space as long as they have.
Correct.
Okay.
And the good part is they're still their own separate entity.
Right. So that's
Separate from
so they would have to have their business insurance, their business license, their LLC, and then say they come, hey, do you have a space available? Yeah. You're working here. I'm not paying you. You're your own business in the corner of my salon.
That's right.
Oh.
And so
there's hope.
There's
hope, you guys.
always hope. There's always ways to play the rules. We got to play along with them, right? So they want us to do something, that's fine. We'll play your rules. But also we're going to go ahead and do it under our own terms. And that's the beauty of it. You got to do it under your own terms. But here's the thing, the kicker, right? So just like we were talking about the BOI, State Board is also getting a little crafty with this. So I think there's going to be additional requirements for the salon owners and those businesses and what the requirements are.
Of course.
Always. So
Of course.
I don't know if they're gonna want each booth rent now to have. They need to have walls or something,
like a
cubicle.
Separate,
I don't know. They're gonna want them to have their own place to wash their hands or something. But they're trying to add a little bit more and get a little bit more crafty. It's always those HOA people, man. It's always those house association people, where it's like they make rules for everybody, and it's like, dude, back off. Like,
I know. I feel as though they're trying to. This is the thing: is the beauty industry we're creative, are artistic, and they're trying to turn us into a cookie cutter. We're not all the same. We function differently.
And, 1,000,000%.
And power to the people. I'm just kidding.
So,
I know.
Start flipping things, yeah.
Just not this.
Yeah, no, I've already broken up.
Okay. So what else? What are some main questions that you get? Let's say the one question that you always hear from say, hey,
a first time caller, man. So usually one of the always ones is always pricing, which is obvious, right? How much is this going to cost me? But two, am I going to get in trouble? I feel like the biggest thing is always price and fear. Fear is the biggest one. I had a guy yesterday that we talked to. I won't name his name, but we chatted to him on Monday, and he was a referral from his cousin. Because his cousin's like, dude, you have to get into this business. You need to register it. And mind you, he's already making, his contracts are like $25,000 per contract.
Oh, jeez.
Minimum. And he gets a few of these per month. So he's been doing this for 3 years, he tells me, almost 4 years. And I'm like, he's like, but I'm scared. And I'm like, bro, you're operating under the table. That's like doing something that's illegal, and then you're more scared of then now formalizing it, doing it legally. Which makes no sense to me. I'm like, wait, you're doing illegal stuff. That doesn't scare you, but then formalizing it does. I was like, so it shows the power of not knowing.
Right.
When you don't know, you create all these things. I always use my kids as examples. They're always afraid of things that are under the bed, things that are when you turn off the lights. And I was like, why are you more afraid of the things you can't see and that you make up inside your head?
Right.
And I feel like owners, that's the first thing that they're afraid of. So he talked to me on Monday. He's like, I want to get started. And I was like, great. I tell him the pricing and everything. And he's like, but how am I going to pay myself? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? What if they find out this? And what if they find out that? And I was like, and I answer everything. So we go through the whole thing. And then he's like, I must start on Wednesday. And I was like, Sure, because Wednesday is so much different than today. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen in 3 days. I don't know if an entity's gonna come
It's
down
fear.
and bless you.
It's really real. You'd be amazed. From firsthand. You
I've been
see
there
it every
so
day.
many times. I've been there so many times, and so I called him Wednesday yesterday, and I'm like, hey, so we chatted. He's like, oh, he's like, that's right. He's like, well, it's because, and then he starts going on about a bunch of other questions, like, how am I gonna get paid? Are they gonna know about my numbers? All these taxes, and so I'm like, hey, can I ask you one question? I was like, is it really all these questions you're asking me, or are you really telling me that you're scared to start and you don't know what you're doing? And I don't mean to be upfront. I'm not trying to make fun of you, but what I want to know is if really is that you don't know what you don't know, that's what I'm here for. So you're afraid of what I got the answers to help you. I'm your shield against your fear. And he's like, you're right. He's like, I want to get started right now.
Oh, good.
He's like, I'll get started right now. I don't know why I'm holding off. I'm just scared because I don't know any of these things. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get this. And I'm like, dude, you're going 150 miles per hour down the highway and you're afraid because there's a permit out there that allows you to drive that fast. But because it costs a little bit, you would rather still drive 150 miles. You're going to get caught one day or another.
And there might be some skeletons in the closet.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about you is that, okay, so let me just tell you guys one thing. When you reach out to Jesus and you decide to take the steps, just be as transparent as possible. He's not here to judge you. He's here to put everything in order. That's his main. He's truly here to help you. It doesn't matter if you have a body buried in the backyard.
That's right.
He will help you.
We'll just blackmail you later. That's
I know.
Okay. There is a cost to this. Rosie will bury the bodies for us.
She has the map. We're there all. So I'm just saying you have to be, when you're going legit, you have to be transparent. You have to really, if I'm talking to, just go ahead and say who it is and what you do and what you pride yourself on with, again, to remind the people.
So we really are that small business therapist, right? We really want to know all the messed up stuff that you got into, what traumatized you, and why the business is breaking apart. And we really want to just figure out, what did you say? We listen, but we don't judge. We really are here to just fix and organize everything for you. And we're here to help you out with your small business.
And show you that knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. Yeah. And for you, I want you to help us out too, right? So what are some tips and guidance that you can show anybody who is starting in this field, anybody who does want to dive into the beauty industry?
Well, you have to look at it. You have to know what you're looking at, first of all. You can't just think you're going to go on social media and you see all this beautiful these professionals beautifying women, and it does start with a passion. You definitely have to have passion, because in anything, say like lashes, it takes work. It's not easy. It takes a lot of practice. And so I get that a lot. A lot of people do like to say, oh, I want to be a lash artist. I want to do lashes. And then they take the training and then they realize how difficult it is to do lashes. It's challenging and it's possible, but you have to have the want and the right mentor. And I actually have implemented a training to where it's kind of like a intro, I guess you could say, to lashing. What is
curriculum.
It? Crash course.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
You think you want to do lashes? Take this beginner's lash course, low cost. One day you get your live model, and if you want to continue doing it, I have, I guess, how did they say it in college?
Continuity or
not continuing education. Prerequisite.
Okay.
You have to have a prerequisite to take my advanced lash course of at least 30 days of classic lashes, because you have to learn the fundamentals first. And this is if this isn't something that you really want, why am I going to charge you X amount of dollars? So you know what I mean, and you're not even gonna continue. Let's do this crash course and make sure this is what you want, and then you can apply.
In the crash course, what's like a good snippet of some of the stuff they'll get from you?
So we go ahead and go down the lash theory. Whole class goes through the lash theory, sanitation, just your basic knowledge of the lash industry. Pretty much, you do have to be a licensed esthetician to do this business. A lot of people do stay working out of their home in order to avoid that. You do get a kit. You get model practice on a mannequin and a
Nice.
live model.
I like it.
You get mentorship, pretty much everything that comes with an advanced lash, any kind of lash course. But this one is aimed to see if not if you got what it takes, but is this what you really want
It's like
to
a
do?
boot camp.
Boot camp.
Yeah, I like that.
Boot camp.
And then you're
Lash
their
boot
mentor
camp.
to mention. You don't want to keep spinning those wheels, running around in a circle. You want to
Yeah.
guide them and be like, hey, look, that's great. Don't make those mistakes.
Mhm.
Here's your roadmap.
Right. And then, like I said, after you have to, in order to take that advanced lash course, so this is what I really want to do, where you start learning the different mappings, the volume, whatever, all the different techniques and stuff like that, as far as hyper real lashes or whatever the case is. That's where you get really deep into it, and then it's a longer course, so we can make sure we're not sending you out there with your pants down.
Wrong party. That's
Okay.
that's a different course.
I know.
That's the after hour course. So
Right?
That's awesome. I love that. How do they find you? Please, that's a good one for us, right? I want them to reach out to you, find you.
You can Google me at Cat's Beauty Bar. You can find me on social media. Oh,
Yeah.
on Instagram, Cat's Beauty Bar.
Yeah.
Same thing. TikTok. I'm all over. I'm here at Santa Fe Spring. We really enjoy meeting new people and answering questions. And they say in school, no question's a dumb question. And I just want to really encourage people to reach out. Don't be afraid.
Ask questions.
I know it's a scary world out there, but there's people that are legitimately willing to help you. And it doesn't always have to cost money or whatever. I'm a talker. I love to talk.
Yeah, we didn't notice.
I can talk about anything.
She tells me to when to cut it because I
Okay,
can talk
stop.
forever. There you go. So, I think one of the things I want to ask you is we've seen a big transformation from when we first started, and we've seen your growth along the way. What did formalizing your business, like, what did it do for you? How did it help you once you got started with us and got your company up and running?
Wow, it gave me power. Not strength or anything like that, but it pretty much mentally, what could I say? It mentally gave me the not clout.
You're getting young on us over here. You got the clout? You got the, you're like, I got drip, no cap.
No. It really sealed it. Wow, I'm really doing this. Now I
Yeah.
have to boss up. Now I can go out there and put my name out and not fear, like, who's going to see me? Am I going to get a fine? Or what if somebody wants to call the board on me? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go ahead, make my day.
I love that. Yeah.
I'm a business owner.
I like
I
my
got the
shoulders or
papers to
nothing.
prove it. Exactly.
I like
Yeah.
that. That's awesome. But look, I also want to say thank you so much for having us. You've been a great client, but like you said, a better friend. Honestly, it's been amazing, and I'm glad that you can reach out to us, trust us at any moment for all the skeletons in your closet as well.
I know.
We got a few right now that we're going to hide now. You've been great, and I know that a lot of people are going to find this and trust you, and they should, because you're great. You're a great leader. You're a great person to ask questions to. You got to reach out to Kat, honestly. She'll guide you. And look at this. This place is gorgeous.
If anything, at least come and visit us. I'm telling you, you guys have experienced. We're totally in a different realm up here because we're upstairs. We're locked
Yes.
away. We're hidden, kind of hidden location, but not so hidden that you
Correct.
can't find it. And we have a bunch of different suites up here, and everybody does something different. And we all commune together, break bread, if you want to call it that. But my friendship with you has been very inspirational, and I know you're like a safety net. I know
Yeah.
if I have a concern or a fear, or I can always give you a DM or email you any other way. Oh, emails. That's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
Your classes or the emails that you send out on on trainings that you have. You got to just subscribe, right?
That's it.
Yeah, all you got to
Easy.
do is subscribe.
That's right,
Can
yeah.
you just name a few that are going on right now?
So we have quite a bit. Some of the previous ones that we have is we want to set up events like this where we're talking about Q&As. We're talking about your startup. But a couple of things that we've been doing lately is like how to set up your business email. So something simple as that. Google My Business if you're a local business, right? So some people have local businesses like this. How do I put this on Yelp or on Google so that people can find this locally? So we're going to have a lot more coming out. How to do your payroll, how to do your QuickBooks. Just simple things that I always feel like it's so obvious, but then we don't ask the question because it feels obvious.
Right, yeah.
I have those questions all the time too. That's obvious, I won't ask. I feel dumb. And then I'm like, now I didn't learn nothing now.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't like to feel stupid, but hey, you're never going to get to the bottom of it if you don't ask, right? And there's only, I know I've tried to look up things on YouTube, how they say YouTube University, but if you don't even know what to type in, how do you word, you don't even know like the answer, how to ask the question, how you're going to ask YouTube. You're going to be sitting
How do you ask what you don't know?
You're going to be sitting there forever going through all these videos, and you could just give me a call, and we can either answer it or point you in the right direction or get the answer for you or whatever.
That's right. I love it.
High five.
Thank you so much. Honestly, I love it. Any other questions that you had for us?
No.
I love it. I think that should be a good wrap.